welcome everyone to another edition of our New Jack Swing podcast with VJ Stevie Street and Mr. Andrew Knight. How are you gentlemen doing this evening?
Good evening, folks. The boys are back in town.
I would hope so. Okay. Yes, yes. And as you guys who are of community who join us every time we're on, as you put in your name, we can give you a shout out as you join in. Yes, this is an album that VJ chose, and so we're going to go into the Diary of a Mad Band, talk about it. 13 songs on it, so we'll get to start from 13 down to one, and then go from there. High, low, tone, capone. But before we start, just as before we got on there, I just heard some sad news that Albie Shaw lost his mother this evening. He calls her Mama Dukes. She has been beside him since he started. So Albie Shaw's mum and Carl West's father are brothers and sisters, so first cousins, and so they have been, and all from that Mount Vernon area, and so Albie Shaw's about to release his autobiography in September, and we're aware that he has publicly said that he does have suspicions that Diddy might be behind not only his hospitalization but also his the death of the mother of his child, Kim Porter. So we'll wait to see what's in the book, but we just want to send our condolences to Albie Shaw and his family at the sad passing of his mother this evening. Yes, hey Colin, M. Mac, David, we haven't seen you in a while. Okay, so Diary of a Mad Band, VJ. This was something that you were really passionate about us sharing. So tell us about this album.
Well, it's Jodeci. I mean, you had for me, Uptown Records was about Guy and Heavy D and the Boys. It was about the earlier sound, Groove Be Chill, Finesse and Synquest. That's what people like Albie Shaw. That's what I had in my head about Uptown Records, and of course the girls and Jeff Red and people like that. And then these guys came out of nowhere, like on Father MC's first album.
Lady.
They popped on there, and on the second album, obviously on Treat 'Em Like They Want to Be Treated. It was just magic. I didn't know who these guys were. They just sounded great. And then they were on that Strictly Business soundtrack, that song called Let's Fly. I don't know how I felt about that song so much at the time, but by the time that first album dropped, Forever My Lady, it was a very, very special album. And then obviously Come and Talk to Me remix, which was massive, changed the game completely. It's credited as a Sean Combs remix, Puff Daddy remix. I don't know how accurate that is because I've been told that other people were involved in the making of that song, but hey, I can only go off what we read on the credits. And in between this album, Forever My Lady and Diary, there was two singles. There was Lately and Let's Go Through the Motions. Now, Let's Go Through the Motions and Lately were on the European and the Japanese releases of Diary of a Mad Band. So in the US, like you wouldn't have had it on the same album, but that bridge was incredible. Let's Go Through the Motions was just, what is this song? What are they going to do next? And how are they going to follow Come and Talk to Me and that ridiculous I'm Still Waiting remix, which none of us knew what the remix was called at the time. We were watching the video and we just called it the Jeep mix. Everybody that I knew just called it the Jeep mix. And then this album came out and we were blown away. And that's why I wanted to do this album, because it's Jodeci, and they are the bridge between the old school and the new school. I look at Heavy D and all of those as the old school, the emergence of Jodeci, people like Mary J. Blige on Uptown Records, before Monifa and Soul for Real and people, Lost Boys, people like that came on board. this was a group. And what Jodeci did, they were, it was either in Camp Jodeci or you were in Camp Boys to Men. I mean, at that time. So I love them both. I love Boys to Men and I love Jodeci. So brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, we'll definitely get a chance to discuss both groups and album sales and things like that. Colin, welcome. Miss Savignon, welcome. Melodic, Dio, Ezekiel, welcome. Joseph Perry, welcome. Zabak, the midget, is it? Midgets, yes, welcome. Mac, Derek from Minneapolis, welcome.
Kev.
Is it Kev the chef? Welcome. Yes, thanks you guys. Welcome. And anyone else as you're coming in, if you put your name in, we'll give you a shout out. Stevie, what's been your thoughts and memories of Diary of a Madman?
I'll just give a few more shouts. Melodic, Joseph Perry, David Yarding, Colin Mills, Deo's here as well. Low Tone Capone, everyone's here this evening. Wow. A big shared album from 1993. For me, what I did notice was a distinct change in sound on the album, the production sound, not specifically the vocals or the song subject matters, but the sound. I was just blown away by the change in sound, both the ballad, slow jams, and more hip-hoppy, tough R&B tracks. I wasn't sure of the cover. I'll be honest, the cover reminds me now. What's that horror movie with Leatherface in? What's that classic horror movie?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's what this cover reminds me of, that film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's what I'm getting from this. I was like, oh, I'm not sure about this cover. Are they, you've got a couple of guys here from South Carolina. It's like suddenly, are they gangsters? What's going on here? So I wasn't sure about the album cover, but not the content, not the tracks. Great album, as VJ said. It was another album that I could play from start to finish.
Okay. Welcome, guys. Andrew's even putting his stuff in there. Colin, it's including Success. So the 13 tracks, which is the one bonus Success, will be on there. Andrew.
Okay. Yeah. One of the things I love about this show is when I hear everyone else talking, it reminds me of thoughts that I had. So first, I'll try to keep it short, but I remember the first time I heard of Jodeci, it was spring of '91, and I was watching Soul Train, and it was I remember Don Cornelius announcing and Jealousy or something. I was like, what is the name of this group? And then there are 4 guys in bleached jean jacket, suits, like jean jacket, pants, black combat boots. First time I ever saw combat boots, by the way. And they did Gotta Love, which I loved, and they did Stay. And then from there, Jodeci evolved, right? So what VJ just said is absolutely on point. Jodeci were basically they became kind of the bad boys of R&B. So if Boyz II Men was the Beatles, Jodeci was the Rolling Stones. It was just they were the 2 pillars, and everybody else kind of came in between that side. And I think Drew Hill was the first group to kind of go right in the middle, but Jodeci was definitely bad boys. Now, going to what Stevie said, I remember I saw a live performance of Come and Talk to Me, and at that point, Casey was wearing this big top hat, and he had a skull, I think, tattoo, or something skull's going on. And then it reminded me of this Haitian voodoo figure named Baron Samedi, and I was just kind of this is kind of cool. They're getting kind of spooky. Even the Billboard Music Awards, they came up, and I think JoJo had a machete, and they were dressed all crazy. And I'm these guys are just different, and they're coming into their own. So to me, when this album came out, Diary of a Mad Band, they're starting to transition from those church boys. Then they went to the whole New York thing with Puffy. But then this is the beginning of them trying to flirt with Death Row and the kind of, I'll just say it, kind of darkness that came out of that. And I don't think I'm being exaggerating, because 2 deaths erupted, major deaths erupted from that whole East Coast, West Coast thing. So things got really serious. So Jodeci were bad enough to be on brand, to be on a song like How Do You Want It and fit in. or toss it up. So this was the beginning of the Jodeci, like as real kind of, you know, bad boy, thuggish, whatever you want to call it, West Coast thing. But it was also the album. Last thing I want to say, I said it was going to be short. It's not short. The last thing I'll say is this is the album that solidified their position. There was no way they're going to be one-hit wonders or whatever. They were like, now you guys are legends for life. And maybe that would be like the next album, Legends for Life. I just made that up on the podcast. So anyway, that's it. I'm excited. This is going to be a great show.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, from my recollection, so this album came out the fall of '93, December of '93. And at this time, I was in Milwaukee. Not Milwaukee. I was going to college, a black college in Selma, Alabama, and my roommate, I can't remember his name to save my life, but he was from the South. He was from Alabama, but he wanted to be from New York, and so he in our room, I had all the Heavy D and the Boys, all the Guy and stuff. And he was having Method Man and Das Effect, and he was telling me about Nas and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, I was very much of the music side, and he was really into the East Coast stuff. And I said, look at the Jodeci stuff, and this was probably the only album that he did give a listen to, and thought, okay, it wasn't too bad. But for me, as I always mentioned, that being introduced to Jodeci, it was really the side B, the up-tempo New Jack tracks that really got my attention. It was only when I moved to Alabama that songs like Forever My Lady really resonated, and I was like, oh man, okay, this is pretty cool. So when they came out with Cry For You in the desert, in a leather jacket and stuff, and they said, no, we're gonna still go back to the slow jams and start it off, I was like, okay, I'm sold and I'm hooked. I know as we go on, we can talk about, what DJ ADF said, that initially Jodeci was supposed to be under the Untouchables umbrella, because Andre Harrell promised him, says, you know what, for all the work you've done, I'm going to give you Jodeci. But because Guy called it quits, he was like, oh, I need a group. So he backtracked off of that. And so Eddie F then moved away, formed the Untouchables, and started to do intro and all that stuff away from Uptown. But he was supposed to have done the side B, while I'll Be Sure mentored them and helped produce the first track. So it's going to be fun as we talk. We'll talk about, what they've said about the relationship with Boyz II Men and everything. But it is definitely an interesting album. And we're going to get to talk about why this album was as good as it was, sold less than 10% of the 2 album, and everyone in R&B wanted to be Jodeci, but Boyz II Men outsold them 10-1. So what happened there? So, as we're talking, it'll be great just as we start dropping those nuggets and stuff, so that we get it in there and stuff like that. Any final other words? And so everyone's putting their stuff around about seeing them on MTV and stuff like that.
Sauvignon did just say that it's North Carolina, not South Carolina. Right. The other thing was, it would have been a very different list if it was Let's Go Through the Motions and Lately were included. It is what it is. We're not including them, so we're not. But yeah, both brilliant songs. But that's
I mean, if we talk about the MTV Unplugged, I mean, Steve, did you get to see it when it came out in the UK? Because I was in the US, so I saw it when it came out.
I've vaguely seen it once. I think I did see him do Lately. I kind of remember that performance. So yeah, there was.
But what did you think of that song then, when they did it? And because that song changed the trajectory in the US. It just took them to another level. But what did you think about it in the
song,
UK?
You can't really go wrong with a Stevie Wonder song if it's done right, done with respect. So, and a lot of R&B artists were doing Stevie Wonder songs during the 90s.
I think they were the first, though. And I think after them, everyone started to put a Stevie song on their album because of the success of Lately.
I don't know. You could go back to
because Intro did it.
You could say Mickey Blue did knocks me off my feet. You could say he was first. I've got countless albums from the 80s and 90s with Stevie Wonder songs on. So
we're talking about also like the 90s R&B, because if you think of 90s R&B, so Intro did it. I think I can't remember now. Even Blackstreet did "Come Buy Me Love." It became a thing like, oh man, that Lately performance and that rendition of Stevie. Everyone, all the labels started to say, "Come on, you need a Stevie cover song on your album and stuff." I mean, VJ was Lately big in the UK as much as it was in the States.
I remember it being available. You could buy it in HMV. If anything's available in HMV and our price, which were the two big stores here, for £1.99 on a Monday when it came out, it was a big enough song to be released. I thought as good as Lately was, and people might hate me for this, I thought Lately was middle of the road. I didn't feel it was. I understand the impact. I know people loved it, but for me, Jodeci is more about "Forever My Lady" or "Come and Talk to Me," like their own songs. Like when they do their own stuff, they sound incredible, and they should stick to their own stuff. I love the idea that Sean Puffy Combs, Devante said, "I don't want to work with you guys with Puffy anymore." I love that. I love that so much, because how do you get an artist to really branch out and be the best that they can be? They do their own stuff. It's like George Harrison with the Beatles. He wasn't allowed to record his own songs until the sixth album. That sounds crazy, right? But that was the case. And when he branched out, if you type in the Beatles on any streaming site, the most popular song is a George Harrison song. The top two songs, I think, Here Comes the Sun for sure. And it's the same with Jodeci. The Jodeci songs that I think of are songs done by Devante, not written by Stevie Wonder. So Lately was a no-go for me. I really listened to it. I didn't have time for it.
What I'll say as someone who lived in Canada and then the US, and then there's an interesting conversation about white America versus white Europe, in terms of like reception of R&B. What I can tell you with certainty, and I'll argue with anybody about this, is that the quote unquote mainstream audience didn't really know who Jodeci was. I mean, Come and Talk to Me was the first crack, but when Lately happened, that's the reason why white America found out who Jodeci was. They loved that unplugged performance. It was the performance that did it. And then they did the studio version, but the radio stations were playing straight up from that album. And I think that single is why the unplugged album, because it did come out, sold anything, because that performance was the reason to get it. So yeah, Lately, and then Casey and JoJo. That's like what white America knows of Jodeci. Those two. Yeah. But everything else, that's more, you have to be into R&B to know who they are.
Yeah, I mean, so because I said I moved to the States in '92. So when they did Lately, it got to number 4 on the Billboard 100 and number 1 on the R&B charts. So it actually So if you want to know why Jodeci didn't release only 3 singles of the Diaries of a Mad Band, is because when Lately picked up, and the Unplugged picked up, they had to go back. Yeah, they went back into the studio. So that made them into that Boys to Men sort of territory with that track. But I'd be honest, when I listened to it at first, I'm like, man, what is this, man? Not because I didn't like Stevie, but I preferred what they had, and I wasn't a big fan of it. And I think it was one of the things that they just were told to put on there. And actually, next time I speak to Dalvin, I never did ask him why they did the cover of Lately. So that would be something to really find out about.
Just one more thing I want to say. I don't know. I got the US copy, and I've noticed there's a hidden track on this US. The End of Success, it kind of continues, and you got to fast forward it a bit, and then another track starts. I can't remember what the track's called. I can't remember what it sounds like. But if you got the US version, there is a hidden track on it.
Well, After Success.
Oh. Yes.
For mine, it was Success. Success was the hidden track.
Success was the hidden track.
Yeah.
No,
you have you have to forward it,
and then you fast forward, and then something else comes on.
All right, I'll have to.
Yeah, that was Success. I didn't know if there was. I think Success.
Come back
Yes,
for another track
it's
after.
like 7 minutes, so you have to skip 3.5 minutes before Success starts.
Yeah.
Oh well. I thought it was
But as I said, it's maybe the different.
You have a special
different
version, man. If there's another one after that,
No,
that's awesome.
But
Yeah.
somebody's just said like, and I get it. I get the passion for lately. Somebody's saying a VJ should take his meds, and what's this talking
Sorry.
about? It's all good, man. The thing is,
All love.
this is a subjective view of what you like and what you don't like. For me, like if you talk about Jodeci tracks that they'd covered from somebody else, I preferred Casey Haley's version of "If You Think You're Lonely Now." That to me is perfection. Now, you tell me whether I prefer that or lately. The Bobby Womack cover is far superior for my ears. I mean, I know lately was massive. I know everybody loved it, but I just didn't listen to it. There was even a remix, the World Beat Mix or something, wasn't there, Steve? Something World Beat Mix or something? What was that? Hardly listened to that.
No, but as I mentioned, as Andrew was saying as well, that when they did the Unplugged, it was an event. It was, and when they did the cut, it felt like it was spontaneous, and they did it. And it's just like Mariah Carey's "I'll Be There." That was one of those where they didn't even plan it; they just put it out there, and it blew up. So it was almost, and actually that was the first one. So they all started taking chances with remakes, and actually, as much as they stayed in their lane, and Boyz II Men would tell you, if you listen to them on interviews, they were as hood as Jodeci. It's just that Michael Bivins and Motown says, but you're not going to sell as many records if you follow that direction. So we're going to keep you in this preppy outfit. But they were more hood than Jodeci. They were more street and hood than Jodeci. But they were polished up to do what they did. But they didn't like that. And every artist, I remember Rift, everyone says we wanted to be Jodeci because they had the right balance. They had the songs, they had the lyrics, they had the image, they were the rock stars, which, we hadn't had that since Guy. Remember, Jodeci took that rock persona from, if you think of Guy from the future, they were the R&B rock stars with their GUI and their boots and their Doc Marten boots and the glasses. That was, I look at Jodeci and I think, well, you just took what Guy did and just went all black. Guy was, back in the late 80s, early 90s, it was still bright colors. But Guy were the first sort of rock R&B kind of stuff. Well, I said first, we still had Cameo and stuff, but Jodeci sort of took that and ran with it.
Yeah. Andrew, do you remember that interview we did with Sean Stockman in Chicago?
Of course, yeah.
And you remember what, like, we were talking about his up tempos. Boyz II Men had incredible up tempos that they're not credited for. Boyz II Men are known for their ballads; they just are. But then we started running off all the up tempos, and Boyz II Men had a lot of up tempos, like some
especially
great
in the first album with Under Pressure and all that stuff and Simpin. But yeah, no, I wanted to say something and it's gone just because there's just so much happening. Like there's so much we can talk about. Like in the comments, I'm just like reading all your comments. I'm just like, oh my God, I want to respond to that. I want to respond to that. But I think overall in the 90s, going back to your topic though, I feel like between like 92 and like 90 really, well, yeah, like 91, 92 till about 95, like R&B heads weren't really checking for up tempos anymore. It was like, I remember even reading Vibe magazine, and Vibe would they'd be like, would Jodeci stop trying to make fast songs? Damn, like Vibe was like that. They were pretty mean. They would also even tell Ronnie DeVoe to stop rapping. They were terrible. Anyway, going back to but seriously, Vibe would always clown the fast songs. And even though God of Love was like a dope song, we were not, at least in the US, we were not checking for it at all. I loved it. But it was Stay, For My Lady, and then the slow side of the album of this album was celebrated. So I think in general, up tempos weren't cool until like Brandy and Soul for Real kind of brought it back. They're the two that kind of started it, but you got to start a little slower, but then speed it up later.
Yeah. But also just before we get into the album again, think about Mariah Carey, how she started and then how she ended. She was like, man, I want to ditch this sort of adult contemporary look and sound and go more street, because that's me. Whitney Houston, they had to do the My Name Is Not Susie. That was the name of the album. You know, when she did "I'm Your Baby Tonight,"
That's it.
My Name Is
I'm Your
Not
Baby
Susie.
Tonight.
She had
that was the name. Yeah.
Yeah, Clive Davis said, "Look, Whitney's not happy. Just I don't care how the album sells. She just wants to connect with a black audience." And even Michael. So it felt like everybody wanted to be like Jodeci because they felt they had a connection. And unfortunately for Boyz II Men, they had to stay in play the corporate game, sell more records to a different audience. But as I said, you know, we can debate at the end of the day who has a better career and who can be celebrated more right now. But anyway, let us start with number 13. So guys, there's 13 tracks. So we've got the bonus track, which is Success. And we'll start it off. We'll start with me, go VJ, Stevie, and then Andrew. And for me, number 13, I would say the one song that I didn't like on the album, and I skip it as much as I can. And it isn't lately because unfortunately it wasn't on the original album, but it's You Got It with Redman. Baby, you got it. I just it's the last song on there. For somehow it's somehow that song I'm just not a big fan of it, and with the rap and stuff. And I was like, oh man, I like how it starts, you know, all the slow songs and everything, and then it just goes straight. This is the first one of those. Let me see. It's track number 7. So it's after You Get Alone and you're enjoying the slow jams and it goes to this. I'm like, oh man, don't tell me it's going to change. So for me, number 13 is You Got It, feature Redman. Okay, Diaper Sweaty. Cry for Your Extended Version. What do you wow. Malik, you need to be banned from here. Okay. Timmy Lee, you agreed with me. All right. VJ, what's number 13 for you?
I will say number 13. Shout out to Claude, who's joined as well just now. So, hi, Claude, 1970 CFJL, whatever your username is. But hi, Claude. My number 13 samples Jodeci's Come and Talk to Me. It is Jodeci Hotline. And I love it. I love the intro. The intro is fantastic. The harmonies are fantastic on the first bit. And then that last bit gets a bit weird. So I'm like...
Yeah, well, I mean, I've split it in half, so I've focused on the first part.
If it was just the first part, it might be further up because the harmonies on Jodeci Hotline are fantastic. And I had 2 usernames back in the day when I was online. The first username I ever used was Teddy Funk, and the second username I had online was Jodeci. So it was after this track. That's what it is. Jodeci Hotline makes my number 13.
Okay, Stevie.
Same as VJ. I went with Jodeci Hotline. It just felt like a very long interlude to me. So I can't remember it, to be quite honest. So
the one they start off by harmonizing.
Yeah, I remember that bit, and I don't think I kind of skipped it. So it's at number 13.
The first bit's so good, Stevie. The first bit is very good. It is really good.
Okay. Nice.
All right. So first of all, I'm dying inside, like laughing, because first of all, me too. It's the Jodeci Hotline, but check this out. I forgot it actually had music because Joe, like you're like, oh, the harmonies. I'm like, wait, what is he talking about? Then I was like, oh my god, let me take a whatever. I'm like, oh, I forgot. All I remember was like, so it's oh yeah, and like all that like little weird stuff happening. This is the Jodeci Hotline. I'm like, what is this? Like, so to me, and I saw some other lists. I'm like, to me, the ultimate insult, which is why my jaw dropped, Nambi, is if you put a song, both like after, the Jodeci Hotline, you really don't like the song because to me, that hotline is just that message thing, and it's just a very weird track. Don't like it at all. I listen to it sometimes to laugh at it, but outside of that, I just think it has no business. It's just, it should absolutely be number 13. It shouldn't be listed. But again, I forgot they actually do sing in the first part of the song. I mean, the track. I just forgot it was even there. So
Stevie, Andrew, do have a listen to that intro again. That
oh yeah,
it's 1.5 minutes is magic. It is very, very good.
Yeah. It's almost 2 minutes, and I base my where I put it based on that part, and then so I'm able to split it a little bit. Okay, number 12 for me. I don't even know if I remember him on the track, but in the meanwhile, featuring Timbaland, it wasn't too bad, but it just took the flow of the album from how it started, and it was just solo, you gonna turn in the meanwhile. And, it was okay, but I was just like, come on, how it started, and then just added some of those things in there. Now I would say when Missy came in some of the other tracks, I did appreciate them, but yeah. In the meanwhile, is number 12 for me. Yes.
Okay.
VJ.
My number 12.
Okay, people putting sweaty and okay.
My number 12 is Mr. Dalvin production. It samples Dobie Gray Ride On from 1975, and it's Won't Waste You. And it's not that Won't Waste You is a bad song. For me, there's not a bad song on this album. I love every track on this. So I feel bad putting it at number 12.
It's your time.
Brilliant. But it's at number 12.
Play with my Okay. Okay, Stevie.
I went for number 12, Success. I'll be honest, didn't do much for me, that track. So yeah, it didn't really. I think, by the time I was the last track on the album, wasn't it? And
yeah, I mean, it almost it's easy to miss if it's quite easy to miss if not that I think I was in the gym and I was like, oh, I forgot to switch in, and I was like, oh, where does this come from? So okay. All right. Knight, what about you?
I'm with Vij in that I'm pretty sure this was a Dalvin track, but it kind of goes, check it out. Come on, baby, baby. All you got. Yeah, I want it. All you got. Give me all you got. Give me all you got. Like, I'm just like, okay, give it to me, baby. It's just like, and it's cool. It's cool, but like, it's at number 12. It's like nothing. To me, it's a filler track. So that's that. I'm just noticing, y'all, our tastes are so different on this album. Let me tell you. Like, there's gonna be some like moments here. All right, keep on.
Okay. And Mac was saying Success is a weak attempt of New Edition's Boys to Men. I don't know. I mean,
interesting.
Yeah, I
That
don't
is
know.
interesting, isn't it?
I've not thought of that.
Yeah,
I can see where it's coming from.
Okay, all right. I'm a prematurely defend Success. So basically, I feel like Success is more about just their story, right? Like, we're just saying this is who we are, and now this, like, we came back from '89. We jumped in a car, we were scared, we go to New York. It just tells their story. Whereas Boys to Men is more about like, it's a universal song about being like maturing, because growing up can be a pain. So I don't think it was about New Edition story person. I mean, it is, but it isn't. I think it apply to everybody. So I just want to make that distinction, in my opinion. And one's a ballad, and one's like a kind of mid-tempo. Like, I think Success is mid-tempo, but I wouldn't consider it a ballad. You can't slow dance to Success. You can slow dance to Boys to Men. So that's what I'll say to that.
And I would also say that if you listen to, I mean, if when they first were on Arsenio Hall, they spoke about their journey. Dalvin has said it many times. So even KC has said in interviews. So when you listen to them tell their story, and then you listen to the song, even ADF talked about when they came in, how they got set up. So everyone has said about the Jodeci story, and all of a sudden when they put it in a song, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. So I don't know if I like the song based on the fact that it's summarizing the story that I've heard from different places. And so I'm like, oh, this is a great way of summarizing the story. So I don't know if that's influenced where I put it on my list. But on to number 11. Give me all you got. Give me all you got. I can't remember the rest of the song. Give me to you, baby. Give me all you got. Give me up. So that's my number 11. So those were the three songs that didn't make the top 10 for me, which is You Got It, In a Meanwhile, and Give Me All You Got was number 11. It's still a little bit better. In fact, I didn't mind it as much, but I think the track number 10 was a little bit better. So Give Me All You Got was number 10 for me.
Fair enough.
Mr. Mayo says, have you seen my childhood? Yeah, well, yeah. Everyone's telling their story like Michael's, but yeah, I just like success. VJ.
Yeah, I've got my number 11, but Stevie, I was going to say that is probably the most interesting thing that's been pointed out during this show. Who's saying that? They're saying that I think all day about that bonus track. I think everybody's very curious to know what the hell you're talking about.
It's like I say, I've not played it for a long time. It probably is that track. But that end track is not a track that I go to when I listen to the album, so I kind of forgot really.
Okay, we'll find out anyway soon enough. But
so we're number 11, Colin. So track number 11. So yeah, so I've started at number 11. So yeah,
my number 11 is.
Hey, see Keith Andis, producer, songwriter behind some of the songs on Exhale and others.
So my number 11 is, and this grew on me a lot because it seemed like a bit of a throwaway track, but it did grow on me, and that's number 11 is Sweaty. And Sweaty samples two tracks. It samples Zap, I Play the Talk Box from 1989. It also samples Fred Wesley and the JBs from 1974, and it's sampled in two songs. Sweaty is actually quite a good song. I mean, it's grown on me. So,
but it doesn't make your
it
top
doesn't
10.
make my top 10, but it's a good
okay. It's a good song. Stevie, what's the 11?
It gets kind of difficult from me because I was thinking what Jodeci, Hotline and Success were the two easy tracks to put right at the top. And I'm thinking, which track has to stay out of the top 10? It's difficult. I do like this track. In the Meanwhile makes number 11, but I do like the track. But I had to leave one out of the top 10, and unfortunately, that didn't make my top 10. On another day, it might do. Because like you say, there's a bunch of tracks there that could go up and down for me, but In the Meanwhile, I normally end up doing 3 drafts of this top 10, but I've just stuck with the first draft for some reason. I've not checked. I did the first draft, so I'm just stuck with it. So In the Meanwhile, number 11. But I do like the track.
Okay, Andrew. And I tend to just do. I always go for my 1 and 2, 3, and then I have the last tracks, and then I just make the middle part. Go ahead, Andrew.
So, poor Mr. Dalvin, but he'll have his success later in terms of no pun intended. Anyways, moving right along. But this is another Mr. Dalvin track, and it is Won't Waste You. I actually do kind of like it. I do. So I'm with Stevie. Like, even though it's like number 11, I do kind of like it. I won't skip it. And I like how I think that might be Missy Elliott's first appearance, like, outside of like Sister and all that, like Black Sugar, but like, I like that. Like, that's cool. So that's it. Won't waste you.
Okay. So Keith Andis had to make an apology. So he said "Love You for Life," and then everyone had to say, "Hey, that's on the 3rd album." And so Keith had to come back and apologize. It's okay, Keith.
We need to explain to him we're on the 2nd album. He's mentioned the 3rd album, the first album, the second,
and the first
like battle, like
second one.
D4. F5. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. So we're not top 10, and my number 10 is "Won't Waste Your Time." I won't. Yeah. So that makes my number 10. I actually appreciated Missy on this, and I appreciated the fact that Missy, Timbaland, Magoo were all sort of on board of this. And I remember speaking to my first time speaking to Dalvin during the time when the Versus thing was big. And I said, man, shouldn't you be proud of, the fact that you opened the doors for Missy and Timbaland, and I think they hadn't really connected by that time. And he was like, well, it feels as if sometimes they don't actually remember and appreciate where they started and who opened the doors for them. But Carl Martin from Shy mentioned that actually Missy and Timbaland and the Neptunes all started with Teddy. And even Shy was supposed to be signed with Teddy, so they were all at Future when Future started, and that's when Dalvin and the rest all started to move down to that area, and they grabbed and he got to sign them. So anyway, so number 10 for me was Won't Waste Your Time. VJ, what's number 10 for you?
My number 10 is my first Devante track, and it samples James Brown, The Payback from 1973, and it's In the Meanwhile. I love the harmonies on this track.
Okay.
It's fantastic. It's a brilliant song, but something needs to be at number 10, and unfortunately that's the song.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I had it as number 12, so yeah. So Stevie,
I went for the flowing mid-tempo. It just gets to mid-tempo. Ride and Slide makes my number 10.
Ooh.
Ride and Slide.
Wow, man.
I do like the track, but it's right in there at number 10.
Wow. Okay. That is the surprise. Andrew, right? I can't even begin to think if we're going to have anything similar to our top 5. Andrew.
We are all, as Andrew said it earlier, we are wildly different lists. Wildly different lists. It's difficult. It's one of those albums. There's so many good songs on this, so it's difficult.
Yeah. So this is the first like proper Devante track, because if you consider Hotline Devante, it's fine. But anyway, this song is called Sweaty. It's at number 10. And I don't want to be too clownish on this podcast, but like there's a riff that like Casey does towards the end where it's like I've never heard someone do that, and it's just, and it's like it's so weird, but it was catchy. So do that again, just figure out some other way of doing weird like runs, because that I just remember that more than anything else of that song. Anyway, sorry guys, I just had to like express myself. That's just what I
okay. All right, so number 9 for me. Now I'm surprised you guys had it put it where you guys put it, but when I remember Dalvin saying that people started, especially when he was putting out his own music, and he tried to say that, look, when Casey and Joe do their thing, they don't sound like, even though they're the voice of Jodeci, but when they do Casey and JoJo, they don't sound like Jodeci because they have a different type of sound and music. But when Jodeci come together, they have their harmonies. And so traditionally, when you're thinking about harmonies, you think about Boyz II Men. But I think you almost forget that Jodeci are good vocally when they're together. Dalvin and Devante adding to the harmonies. And a clear example to this is the Jodocidal Hotline, part A of it. Because that's when you're like, wow, with Jodeci, we're here to start. And you're like, and it's like, wow, you can see them harmonizing. And, when they first started, they would go on to shows and they would sing their Jodeci, I can't remember the song, but they were like, JoJo, Devante, Casey, and Mr. Dalvin, because he wasn't initially part of the group. It's just that he wanted to ride and he just followed them and they added him to the group, but they didn't have a song for him and his name's not in Jodeci. But you can see that actually they are good singers and they can harmonize. Yes. So Jodocidal Hotline Part 1, which is the first part, really shows that. So I had to put it in my top 10, and it comes in at where did I just put it? Oh, you know what? Yes, it comes in at number 8 for me.
Yeah, I just wanted to just jump on what you just said. Like, you reminded me of that. Like, I think they would sing that, like it was Hark Forever My Lady, but they'd be like, when you think of love, you think of Jodeci. But they took JoJo, Devontae, and Casey, Mr. Dalvin, like
Mr. Dalvin, yeah. They have to add it because he wasn't part of the group when they came up with the name. So, yes,
but
yeah.
Another interesting observation. If you look at Jodecidal, that's Jodeci, and Dal at the end is the Dalvin included. So somebody was saying that they made it Jodecidal. Sounds like suicidal, but Jodeci plus Dalvin equals Jodecidal. That was why that was called that. That was somebody in the group was telling us that back in the day.
Okay. What's Keith saying? Yeah. Okay, but as I said, it was harmonies are, I have no idea, bass, a full throttle volume. It's more like take 6, smooth approach. Yes, Stevie.
No.
Oh no, sorry, VJ, it's your turn. Yes.
My number 9. We are on number 9, right?
No, number 8.
No, number 9.
Yeah.
Sorry, number 9. Sorry.
Number 9. So my number 9 is a Devontae track. It samples Sly and the Family Stone sing a simple song from 1968. It's You Got It. And the harmonies are fantastic on this. They are so good. Any song from now going towards number 1, I could place any one of them higher or lower. It wouldn't matter. Can I ask you guys this? Can you name a Teddy Riley produced track that is sampled on You Got It? From 1992. That's your clue.
No.
No?
Oh, Church of God of Christ. Okay, thank you.
Rex and Effect Rum Shaker. No. But anyway, that's it. You Got It is my number 9. And it samples Rum Shaker as well.
Cool.
Yes, okay. Stevie.
When I first heard this track, I was in two minds. I felt it's a very safe track, this. I don't know whether this was a record company selection to try and make sure they got daytime radio play. What I feel about it then and what I feel about it now has changed quite a lot, because I'm not a person now that would be begging any woman or even crying for a woman. I might have done back then when I was quite an emotional teenage guy and full of testosterone, and still am now, but not as emotional. So for me, this might surprise you all, and I get why the ladies like it, but Cry For You's at number 9. And like you said, I ain't crying for no woman. So that's number 9 for me.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
It's almost like, well, if we only did a top 10, you just would, wow, that's even Sheldon doesn't do stuff like that. So okay.
Well, there's a lot going Cry For You, and at the end they're going, baby, begging, baby. Guys, don't. I've said this before. Don't ever beg a woman to come back to you, because it doesn't end well. I'm telling you that, guys. Now, any young guys out there, take heed. It doesn't end well for you.
Well, it all depends on who made a mistake and who's making.
It doesn't end well either way. It doesn't end well.
Andrew, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is a nice mid-tempo, I think, as Stevie put it, and it's Ride and Slide. It's not bad, it's not amazing, it's just a good ride and slide song. My shortest explanation ever for this. Probably for the rest of the everything else also have a lot more to say.
I will say some things about Ride and Slide in a little bit, but I'll wait until I get to it. But
oh goodness! All right, So we're number 8, right? So for me, number 8 was a song that I would have missed, because I was surprised the version I had had the long interlude, and that's Success. Because as I said, I maybe basing my like of success because I've been listening to them share their stories in various different times. And so when I'm listening to the song, I'm like, oh, damn, it's just what they've said. So I like the whole story about how we left and got in a car, we got into New York, we didn't know, Eddie F said they were in an apartment in the hood with these massive equipments. And Eddie was telling Andre, why are they here? They're going to get robbed. They just didn't know what they. So when Casey's singing it, and Eddie F has said it, and Dalvin and all these people, it's like, wow, this is a proper story. And it's almost like, imagine in the midst of all that stuff, going to Uptown MTA, not knowing who to ask for, just because this is where all Guy and everyone is. We just want a deal. And taking that risk, and now you can sing back after selling 10 million albums to tell of our journey. And to me, that's the beauty of the song. So there's probably a lot of nostalgia and everything attached to the sentiment of why I picked Success at number 8. So Success at number 8. Yes.
My number 8 is a very odd one because this should be up. A lot of people will say this should be further up, and maybe it should be. It samples Zap Computer Love from 1985. It samples Jodeci's Come and Talk to Me and Melissa Morgan, and it's sampled in 24 songs. So that tells you that it's a respected song, and it's this one. What About Us? And I feel awful putting it there. I'm stunned.
Oh my goodness! I have no idea what I'm listening to tonight.
Number 8. What About Us? Like the original version is fantastic. The remixes are fantastic. What I couldn't understand is, like, on the CD, you had this strange mix. It had album extended, album instrumental, a cappella, and the Jeep mix. And the Jeep mix is the biggest ripoff in history. It's no different from the album version. I don't know why they call it the Jeep mix. That frustrated me. And the remix were not available on CD. They were only available on this cassette and on the promo 12-inch with the instrumental, and on the release 12-inch without the instrumental. But those remixes are so good. I don't understand why that wasn't a bigger song. What About Us should have been massive.
But you put it at number 8. That's for M-Mac and the Red.
But we're talking about the remix. We're talking about the remix here. The remix, the Dalvin remix or the Devontae remix, Swing Mob remix. That might have been at number 1. I would have put this at number 1 if it was about the remix.
Oh my goodness!
Low-toe Capone. Don't pull your shirt. Don't pull your shirt.
I don't. They all need red, yellow, and green cards. I don't know if we've listened to the same album. Goodness.
Namdi, what do you think about the remixes?
No, I hated the remixes. I hated the remixes. I thought they were just. I said they could have just done different songs. The original is just perfect as it is. I listened to the remix and I'm thinking, my goodness, there's some remixes that you're like, well, is there a point? It's like remix of Joy, great, but it's like doing a remix of You're Not Alone. It was just a waste of time kind of thing. But anyway,
fair enough. What about you guys, Stevie, Andrew? What do you think of the remixes? What about us?
I'm gonna save it for when I get to that track. I will say a lot about what I think, but the short version is, I'm a fucking fan. Pardon my French. All right.
Yeah, the remix are massive. I mean, anyway, that was my number 8.
Joe, okay. Stevie,
I put Won't Waste You at number 8. One of the up-tempo-y hip hop tracks. Good track, solid track for me.
Okay.
All right, so I'm a back up Stevie on this one. So I have a theory about this album, and that is, and I was saying this in the chat with the 4 of us before the show. I was saying how this album is like considered, I think, critically and and also with the fans, like the one. Like this is the Jodeci album, right? But commercially, I think it actually might have performed the worst. I'd have to double check, but I feel like commercially it didn't do very well. Someone said it wasn't promoted correctly, and I do think that's true. Do I think that there might have been some beef between Uptown and Puffy with them messing with Death Row at the time, so they're kind of sabotaging the promotion? Probably. Do I think the wrong singles maybe were picked? I actually will say probably, and this is why, even though Cry for You is it's a classic, don't get me wrong, and even the Mickey Mouse Club, if you guys look and find it, you'll see that one actor singing Cry for You. What's his name? Oh my God. Anyway, he was in the Barbie movie. He played Ken. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Cry for You is at my number 8 because, and that's crazy to me because for the lead single to be like at number 8, and I don't think I'm going to be alone, no pun intended. When we go for the entire group, I don't think Cry for You is going to be at number 1. I will bet live on this podcast, it's going to be at least like in the 5 or 6 range. It's not going to be 1 or 2 or 3. So,
do you know what you just said there? Do you know what it reminded me of? Do you remember when Michael Jackson dropped "I Just Can't Stop Loving You"? That's how I felt about Cry for You when
really like this is
at the time. My opinions changed considerably since then. But at the time, I Just Can't Stop Loving You drove me mad. I couldn't believe that they dropped that as a single. And same with
Ryan
Cry
Gosling.
For You,
Thank you guys. Yeah, Ryan and Timberlake.
And Justin Timberlake, yeah. Okay. Colin, hopefully you stay awake. Okay. Okay, so just for the record, the Forever My Lady sold 3 million, Diary sold 2 million, and the show only sold 1 million.
My bad.
Yeah. So okay. So they and so people might be wondering, because Andrew said about their affiliation with Death Row, and Dalvin said they had all these fans, they were selling all these records, but they weren't making any money because they signed a very shady record deal at Uptown, and Suge Knight was the muscle to help renegotiate their contract, just same way Gene Griffin did with to get Teddy's contract publishing, but he kept it for himself instead of giving it to Teddy. So, but that's a whole different story. So that's when they started moving towards Death Row, and it's probably part of the reason why Andre was quick to take the Motown job as well. But anyway, yes, but they didn't. It wasn't sold and promoted the same way it should have. Because we said the 2 albums from Boyz II Men was selling 20 million. This just sold 2 million.
You know what? I want to say that really quick though, as well, in defense of the last album. I think they kind of sabotaged themselves because right after Love You for Life, Devontae just stopped appearing. Like he wasn't Get On Up, and I remember even in concerts, you just see the 3 of them. And then, of course, they broke up shortly after. Then they did Casey and JoJo. So they kind of pulled the plug on their own ramp. I think by the end of '95, they were done. So I think the album they had more hits on there on the show After Party Hotel. Like freaking
but
I remember, at least in the US, it was huge.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but there was still an issue of the money. They weren't getting the money, and but also success was hard on Devontae. So you've heard stories from those who were part of, what was the name of his group? Is it the on the Basement? And people telling stories about actually how challenging it was towards the end when they left, and so it was a lot for him. And he's he's been out of the spotlight since, and he generally doesn't come back into it. But anyways,
the other thing with Devontae was we were talking to Jeff. Was it in Los Angeles? We were talking to Jeff Red, Andrew, and he was saying that Devontae had like maybe 100 songs that he'd done for Jodeci. 100 unreleased songs. That's how many he'd done. And Devontae was such a perfectionist. He just didn't think they were good enough. And that's outrageous. It's Devontae's swing. Of course they're good enough. Just drop the damn songs already. But 100 unreleased songs that just sat there doing nothing. And this was 20 years ago. So, I mean, how many songs has he done since then?
I know we're derailing. I got to mention one more thing. So I found a Summer Jam. It's called KMEL Summer Jam. This was, if you guys have seen the video where Biggie's rapping and the record keeps skipping and he throws a bottle at the DJ, and I was there. At that same concert, the Basement performed, which was nuts. So I literally saw Timbaland, Missy, and all of them, all these big coveralls back in 1995 before I even knew who they were. Jodeci then were the headliners. They were the last act of the show. But I remember now, there's only 3 of them. They had 2 songs. They did Come Up to My Room, Come and Talk to Me, and then the show was canceled because of some brawl that broke out between Too Short and the Loonies. It was like at 10 o'clock at night. It was crazy. But it was a historic concert. It was at the height of the whole East Coast, West Coast thing. But I remember like even getting used to the fact that is Devontae gone? Because it was just the 3 of them. They sounded incredible. But it was like we saw history with the Basement earlier that day performing. It was nuts. It was so cool. I just had to share that with you guys.
It's good that you did, because I think I only noticed Devontae not being around with the Get On Up video. And most of us probably were surprised he wasn't in there. Dalvin later said that to me that in the interview that because Devontae didn't produce it, he didn't think it should have been a single, and he just got mad about that, and he didn't show up. But that could be that could just be the public version of what they want to say. But we have to understand that there has been recordings about he was under the influence as well. With the success and stuff, and also the fact that they took their money and stuff. So a lot of things would have contributed for his stuff, why he sort of left, and then why Casey and JoJo got their own separate record deal. Dalvin went to Madonna, Epic, Maverick. But it was a shame just how they were so successful, but they were caught up so much in the music and the celebrity and all that stuff. And like every other artist we hear about, nobody is speaking about taking care of the business. So, yeah. But anyway, who is next?
What we're talking about.
I think no, actually, shit. Who went? I'm pretty sure. Maybe it's Pete. All right, so I did Cry for You number 8. So yeah, it's you. We're on number 7 now. So Namdi.
Okay, we're on number 7. Yeah. So Sweaty featuring Missy. I actually did like it. And as I said, to think about how the group's sister Missy's in it, and she's the one that really, and she co-wrote this, so you can imagine the immense talent that she's had from a very young age, and how the first I really know of Missy, probably I didn't really notice her on this album, but I noticed her more when she's hooked up with Puffy and did a lot of stuff with Puffy. So Missy, Sweaty, good track. So that's my number 7.
My number 7 is the Dalvin track. It was the bonus track, and man, when we first saw this song, when we first discovered that this was a bonus track hidden away, and I don't know why they did that. There's like 3.5 minutes or 4 minutes of just silence, and then this song appears, and that is obviously success. That's my number 7. I loved this song when it came out, when I discovered it. A long time after I'd listened to the album for the first time. I think it was like 2 months later, and everybody was like, there's a bonus track. You just get past the silence and you'll hear it. Obviously, there were a few samples on this one. Sly and Family Stone sampled again, Sing a Simple Song from 1968. Sweet Charles Sherrill, Yes, It's You from 1974. And interestingly, this song was sampled on the Dalvin-produced track, It's Not Deep Enough, by Jewel on the Above the Rim soundtrack. So
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Success, my number 7. Brilliant. It's really cool that Dalvin reused. I like that they reuse little bits and pieces from songs like that.
You know what, BJ? Big respect to you this evening for your research on all these tracks. Your research, big respect. Gotta say that.
Thanks, man. Thanks, dude.
Subliminal.
Hello, Foxy Moon premieres. You know, for those who watched us when we did the Battle of Producers, Teddy, Jimmy Jam and Taylor Loose, and LA and Babyface. Our next episode next month would be Timbaland, the Neptunes, and Dark Child Rodney Jerkins. We are going to have a special one with Devante and with others, so we haven't named that one. So we're talking a lot about this album, and we cannot escape the genius of Devante, who wrote "Come and Talk to Me" and "Stay" when he was 15, 16, and some of the songs on this. So he's just been a genius in writing and just making up songs. So we will, you know, so we're not going to talk too much about his production and stuff, as we for song, because we are going to do a special battle of the producers with Devante in the lineup coming soon. So keep out for that. All right, Stevie.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because like you say on the credits, I'm looking through the CD booklet. It doesn't really list the samples, so you know.
Yeah, no, it's true.
You pretty much go through most of the tracks there and say which and where it's sampled, and it's, you know, it's good to hear. It's good to hear that, actually. Right, we're at number 7. Like on another day, this could be in my top 5, could be in my top 3. So I think it's a very, very understated and very underrated track. Not many people seem to talk about this, but Alone is at number 7. I think it's a great little track. Let's be alone. Wow.
I don't even know what
track that is.
It's going to be interesting to see where we all put our top 3 or whatever.
I don't even know what songs are left with Stevie's going to put down his top 5.
Yeah. But it's a very it's a very I don't hear anyone that ever talk say, have you heard that track by Jodeci called Alone? Yes. But it's a brilliant track. It's got a very West Coast feel to it. Very West Coast feel.
Well, I have a feeling when me and Namdi mention Alone, you'll know that me and Namdi definitely listen to it a little bit, maybe. I've got a feeling.
Red and look at good hair then, Max. Some red and yellow cards. Or is that some? I don't know. I love Alone. Okay. Andrew, can you save us from this?
Well, this is also going to be blasphemous, right? But this song is a classic. So if I hear someone diss it, I'll be like, yeah, no, dude, like the song is amazing. It's definitely a classic. It's so classic that you can even hear it on an interlude on the Notorious B.I.G.'s first album. So you already know now, right? It is Feenin. Feenin is at number 7, which is, to me, very telling, right? The first 2 singles from the album are at my number 8 and my number 7. Feenin, what? Wow. But like, no, dude, like the harmonies on that song, the song is a classic. It's a signature Jodeci song. Like, you can't even say the word Feenin without thinking of them, in my opinion. So it's just like, I can't leave. I mean, come on, take my money, my house and my cars for one hit of you. Yeah, and also the music video was cool too, because it was like they were really leaning into their crazy, right? Like legit, like I think Devante's actually like in a straight jacket in a padded room.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway. But anyway, everything after this song for me, obviously I love, because I just gushed wax poetic over Feenin, and it's only at number 7. So
yeah. I mean, if you look at the credits, written and produced by Devante, you know, just a genius. Case Dalvin says that he would make up a song about getting beaten up, you know, by getting a whooping by their parents, and he'll write a song about that. That's how crazy of a genius that he is. And I don't know if you guys remember during the lockdown when Andre Harrell passed away. And there was a Zoom, there was Insta Live between Teddy, Jamie Foxx, and I can't remember the guy who was dancing during the stuff. But Teddy said, yeah, the reason why I left Guy was because Devante, when Jodeci came and Devante was just crazy with the stuff, and you know Jamie was scolded Teddy for saying that, but I think there was an appreciation. He did the effort to say that, look, that he was just on a very different level when it came to the keys and the pianos and stuff, because he was a church guy. Teddy was, was a kid playing, but he didn't play like in the church. He was a sound and producer and a genius in that. But Devante is a proper musician when it comes to the keys. So lots of credit for what he's put in there. And then finally, there's something I just remembered that I can't remember who said it, about Drew Hill being the gap between Boyz II Men and Jodeci. Who said it? When we were talking about it was you. So when I interviewed Woody said that he got the Jodeci album, and because they were in high school, and what's the guy? Cisco got the Boyz II Men album, and they were friends, and they're like, let's swap albums. And so they were like, wow. So they both listened to, and that's how Drew Hill was formed, with Woody and Cisco in high school, both listening to both albums. And then that's why they sound like they bridged the gap, because the genesis of Drew Hill was one listened to Jodeci, one listened to Boyz II Men. They swapped and they built their group on that. So I just remembered it when I wrote it down, but then kind of got it. Okay, so these 6 songs are sort of the creme de la creme songs I thought all of us were going to have in our top 6. I started number 6 with Feeling. I think it was a little poetic, the fact that Devante was in a straitjacket, because it felt as if he was pretty much saying, guys, man, I may be going down this road down sooner or later. But Feeling was a nice it was a nice track, a very powerful lyrics and everything. But that was my number 6. But it was great, but compared to the other 5, goodness, it couldn't touch that. So Feelings number 6, so not too far from yours. Mr. Knight. VJ.
My number 6 is Steve, you mentioned something interesting before. You said like you do your first draft, your second draft, your third draft. I think if I was to do another draft, I would put What About Us at number 6. I'd put it up, and I would put this back at number 8.
Everyone's put What About Us at number 6. Wow.
No, but still, it's better than where I put it. I put it at number 8. My number 6 is Give Me All You Got, Dalvin production, and I think,
wow,
I think it's a fantastic song. But I would, if I was to redo the list, I'd swap places with What About Us. I'm just looking at my list and thinking, what would I tweak? And I'm thinking, because you always think, oh man, that should be there. What am I doing? Whatever. So I'm feeling like that with What About Us a little bit. I think I should have bumped it up a little.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of us on this panel has a list that reflects the beauties of this song, but we'll find out as we go along. Stevie, number 6.
It might shock a lot of you, this, but this was
after crying at number 9. I don't think there's anything else that can shock us.
I realised my number 6. I played this the most, but it wasn't the best track on the album. But I played this the most off it. I think it's the most, in terms of experimentation on production, it's the most experimental track Jodeci ever did. They certainly never did another track like this again. And at the time, I still am now. I'm into like analog mini moog sounds, that moog bass line, that P-funky, farty noise. I'm obsessed with it. So when I heard Sweaty, I was just blown away. Boom, 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 boom. That real, that dirty, deep down P-funk analog mini moog. I was in heaven. And like I say, I still love this track to this day. I didn't really care whether the song was any good or not. It was just that mood. I was stunned by it. So it's number 6. Could be number 1 again for me quite easily, because I love hearing it. Dirty, funky groove. So dirty. Love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I love how. Sorry, Yeah, I love how like it's like you'll come away from this and listen to songs with new ears after hearing. And I know what you're talking about. That like it's just like, yeah, I get it.
Oh,
all right. So somebody said in the comments like the intro bass synth from Devante was like a flaming sword or something, right? I don't know what song they were talking about, but for me, a huge reason why My Heart Belongs to You is like at my number 6 is because I love the way it just opens the album. It's just that boom, 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 boom. It's just like it's like a church announcement. And so at first it's like the synths are doing their thing, and then like the group is just like harmonizing, and it's just like, you know, like I mean, the whole thing is just like my heart belongs to. It sounds like you're watching the first song at a concert, and it's just like, you know, it's like pyrotechnics, and I'm being dramatic, but pyrotechnics and like smoke machines and just like them and like strobe lights, and they're just coming out being like weird Jodeci. And yeah, you guys loved like, you know, Lately and Come and Talk to Me and everything from Forever My Lady, but now we're in leather. And now we got the sunglasses, and now we are literally the bad boys of R&B. We are the definers of hip hop soul as far as a group is concerned. And this is why this album is a gilded masterpiece that will stand the test of time. So that's why My Heart Belongs to You is at number 6, which also should tell you that I love the songs that are above number 6, but I clearly love this song. Otherwise, I wouldn't gush as hard as I just did. And thank you guys for letting me letting me talk and gut about my thoughts on that song. It's a mighty, mighty song that says nobody can F with Jodeci.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with you there, man.
All right. So we're in the we're in the end game now. As who said it in end games? Was it
Doctor Strange? Doctor Strange in Infinity War. After he gives away the don't get me started, but you got me started. Like
he gives away the title before anyone else. We're in the end game now. Okay, so top 5. That's what I'm saying. Do you know that you can get a ride? I wanna slide tonight, baby. I wanna give it up tonight, all day and all night. Oh man, Devante Solo.
Brilliant. I love it.
Wanna ride with me? Oh man, I'm like, when my top 5, it was like my my favorite songs on the album, and I've switched it around, but it's like, and so it's a tough one to put it at number 5, but it was just the vibe, the funk, and everything. Do want to ride with me? Oh man, it is such a, and actually this is how Jodeci, if you see them on stage, they kind of lift one leg up, kind of stand, and then lift the other leg up. With you, I want to get it up tonight. Sure. And I love the way JoJo and Casey just go back and forth, and they sing, and Devante's dodo, and so and we did. And that sort of stuff element was taken away when Teddy was he would always come in with the braids and take it to the Teddy, and Devante said, okay, let me do a little bit of that, Devante solo and stuff. And I think if I'd seen a concert when they went on tour and they did have Devante, come on, Devante solo, he's there with his own, keep just doing his stuff and really rocking it and having his moment to shine. Love the track and stuff like that. I know I ain't no Andrew Knight, but I had to give him a little bit there.
Okay. I'll steal it.
I like that, Namdi. Somebody's saying when's we need a Namdi cover album. When's it coming out, dude?
Yeah. Featuring Andrew Knight. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. ZVJ, what's number 5 for you?
Number 5 for me.
Let's break it down.
It's a Devante production. It's been sampled in 12 songs. It doesn't have any samples. This is definitely produced by Devante Swing for his damn self. This is Feenin. This is my number 5. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant song. There's a reason why everybody loves this song as much as they did. There were some incredible Eric Sermon remixes. There was an even better, in my opinion, Dalvin remix of that, which is absolutely stunning. But Feening, solid track, and I love all the vocoder sounds on that. Brilliant. Feening is my number 5.
Wow.
Okay. Was that? I got 2.5 mics. Thanks, DJ all day. Stevie, number 5.
I'm just looking at 1993 as an actual year in terms of R&B sounds, and I always felt 93 was like a transition year. It was like, because from 94 onwards, the up-tempo side of R&B seemed to just disappear. We were just getting albums full of ballads. So 1993...
Yeah, R. Kelly, man. That 12 played.
We still had some G-Funk, and we also had like this, this Jeep bass sound, your Jeep sound. And I think some of the up-tempo tracks on this album, encompass that Jeep sound that everyone's running around with in 1993. Number 5 is You Got It, because it was a very heavy Jeep sound, no coder on it. I thought this track was amazing. Heavy track. I'd really easily top 5 for me. Baby, you got it. Boom, boom, boom. Big rap from Redman. Deservedly was it a single in the US? I know it was a single in the UK with some terrible remixes.
No.
I thought it was a single. Can everyone understand?
It was a song I probably could have done without on the album. So it's a really see the polar opposites of how we saw that track. I mean, I had it at number 13. I was almost like, well, it had to be somewhere, but it's the polar opposite. Yeah.
Namdi, what's going to be interesting? At the end when we do the list that everybody's done together, I think that should be a fair representation of where these songs should be. But we are all over the place. All 4 of us are all over the place.
Okay. Knight, what's your number 5?
So you guys will notice I've resisted singing because Jodeci are singers. They're not like singers, they're like sangers. And I consider myself a singer. I'm not really a sanger, but I gotta say, to give justice to this song, back in the day I thought it was boring. Now that I'm older, I actually appreciate it. So here we go. If it sucks, oh well, I tried. I believe in love, and baby, you believe in love. So what about us? On and on till the break of dawn is on. Anyway, I love that. I want to love you. Woo. I want to love you. So I love What About Us. And now let's get to the remix. All right. So summer of 94. Got my wisdom teeth out. I am resting in bed, like just resting, right? My older brother bursts in and says, Andrew, come here. So I run in, and KML is playing the remix, and we couldn't tell who it was at first. We were like, girl, I'm reaching out my hand, trying to make you understand. Boom, girl, I want to be alone. I thought, is that BBD? Because it sounded a bit like Ricky. But then all of a sudden it's like, I believe in love. You believe in love. Tell me what you think. And then all of a sudden, like, Dalvin has this rap in the middle, and then I got my fingers on the phone and I'm dialing numbers. Like, I'm sorry, guys, I'm just geeking out because I pent this up for like over what 30 years, 32 years, 31 years. So like, I'm just like, I gotta let it out. So anyway, and then I want get it on all through the night. Like, there's just so much. It was very like G-funk. It was very much listening to Jodeci. So anyway, whew. Okay, sorry guys. Like I can't. What About Us? Both versions are amazing. Yeah. The mature, like timeless version I just did, the album version, beautiful, right? But the remix should have been a video, and it should have been like, I think, had like Uptown supported the group, that should have been the video. It was dope. Anyway, it came out as a single in August of 1994, which says so much. Like, what? Like that's the third single, and the album dropped in December 93. What are you guys doing? So
yeah, definitely.
That's it. I'm done. Yeah. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys. I just had to like express again. So, and thank you for Keith for saying I should express, because that makes me feel like, okay, good. I'm not being totally annoying. Whew.
So that remix was very special. Both of those remixes. Did you like the Swing Mob?
Yeah.
Mix?
Because that was very like, I believe Timbaland was on there. So, and I think you hear a little bit of that. Yeah. Ladies in the house tonight, let me hear you say, yeah, yeah, Aaliyah. So on the Aaliyah album, you hear a version of that Swing Mob mix like reused. Very basement, very the basement.
Yeah, brilliant. Those remixes was killer.
Yes, he did on Fun.
I will bring Jimmy Jenkins, who was the VP of promotions at Uptowns, back to ask him what happened with Jodeci. Now, I did ask him what happened with Far MC 69, why that Sexist Law, why that album didn't go double platinum, and he said the MCA were not happy and Universal were not happy with the first single 69. There was a lot of controversy around the fact that he's releasing, even though the single went platinum, but it caught a lot of heat, and so they were told not to promote the album, and subsequently he got dropped after that album. But that album, Sexist Law, should have been his biggest album, but they tried to talk and he did it his way, so they didn't promote that album. I need to find out about Jodeci. I know from Darwin's point of view was the fact that they needed to sort out their money issue, but why MCA did not push it, we'll find that out.
Talking about numbers, this one, like Jodeci's Forever My Lady, I believe was triple platinum. I believe Diary was double platinum.
Yeah.
And Show the After Party was platinum.
Just platinum, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had stopped promoting by the time they did Show in the After Party. They were on the West Coast. They were doing remixes for producing for what was that one where Tupac says Darwin stop playing around and start producing? I think I can't remember, From His All Eyes on Me. So they moved that side. But anyway, number 4. I can't see Andrew just, I hoped Andrew was going to wait to the end to sing because it takes away my stuff.
Sing anyway,
but
man.
For me, I'll just do the chorus. I'll just do I'll just sing it. This for me, it was like, whatever you want, yes. Whatever you need, my heart belongs to you. Whatever you need, there's nothing I won't do. And I think, it starts the album off like this. And I remember speaking to Bryce Wilson from Groove Theory. And he said that during the time that they were recording this, that Devante had this studio that was like the Enterprise, that it had lights everywhere. And that it was just, a lot of producers would say that this was probably one of the best R&B albums ever because of the musicality and stuff. So, as I said, as a fan, I'm not a writer, I'm not a singer, I don't stuff. I just listen, see it as it is. But those who are musicians and producers, they see another layer to the album. So, like Bryce as a producer, he's like, man, that's one of the greatest albums he's ever heard. And being there and watching, how they were creating it. But I think one of the things that we don't give Devante the credit that as a songwriter, as a lyricist, because we talk about his production, but he's writing these love songs, which if it was Babyface, we'll be like, wow, look at Babyface and everything. But he's writing Forever My Lady, Come and Talk to Me, Stay for a little, whatever you want, whatever you need, my heart belongs to you. There's nothing I won't do. I say whatever he's writing these things, and he doesn't seem to get the same credit as Jimmy and Terry or Babyface because of the style of Jodeci. And so I think doing this, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, man, actually Devante was a writer. Yeah, he wrote and produced everything, but most of his things, but he's a proper lyricist, a poet. Mm-hmm. And yet he gets overlooked with the credit. So beautiful bad opening song, whatever we want, My Heart Belongs to You is number 4 for me. So yes.
My number 4 is Stevie put it way down there. You put it in the nether regions of Manchester, man. I don't know what you've done with that song. My song, which is at number 4, I think it should have been a single, and it has no sample. It's sampled in one song, has no samples. It's produced by Devante, and it's called "Ride and Slide." I love this song. This song should have been a single, and I think it would have been epic. And I am surprised that it didn't get more love, but it is what it is. Ride and Slide is my number 4.
Lord.
Right. Yeah, it was just gritty. It was like just it had something very magical for me. But hey.
Wow. Okay. Stevie, what's number 4 for you?
Number 4, I've just looked at the credits. It said it's produced by Mr. Dalvin, all instruments, Mr. Dalvin. For any R&B producers out there now making R&B, or even making this trap and hip hop sound, where I don't know what it is, you've got an obsession with distortion in your tracks. Your mix and mastering levels are far too high, and it's just destroying whoever's singing or rapping on the track, because it's almost like the files are corrupted with this distortion. I would say go and listen to this track that I'm going to tell you about now, because it is an absolute... The beats and the bass boom out, but they boom out at the right levels. There's no distortion on it. If you played it in a club, it would frighten people, but it's such a banger, and that's "Gimme All You Got" as a number 4.
Wow.
I think it's an absolute banging track. It just boomed, but the mix and mastering on that track are absolute perfection. Whoever mixed and mastered that, they need all the money. They need paying well. And like I say, to all the producers out there making R&B trap, go and listen to how that track is mastered. And the way it booms out. There's no distortion in it, but it's bass heavy enough to really hit you hard. But Give Me All You Got's a banger. Absolute banger.
The other interesting thing about "Gimme All You Got," and I think there's a reason why I put it so high. I put it at number 6. The reason why I put it so high is because I think it's the only track that's done with Dalvin and Devante. So I think Dalvin's produced it, and I think Devante's co-produced it. So I thought that combination was very interesting. It was
them beats are as heavy as anything on hip hop albums at the time. So heavy.
And the engineer you're talking about is Prince Charles Alexander. He deserves a mention in this, because he what he did for Jodeci was just magical. And makes sense.
Very, very, very well researched, fellas. You guys researched the hell out of that. So anyway, all right. So
yeah, we did our research indeed.
So here we go. I can embarrass myself. I can rock a party like Liberace. I can catch a groupie standing in the hotties, take her out and get sticky right in the lobby, then get my crew and run with Sling Mobby. We like Norman, our skills on the beats. People can't wait to get a dub of our tapes. On 125th, catch a whip. Casey, my man, won't you hit a rip? And show my sticky girls with the the rub it down, lick her thighs. Now we passed her all night long. Make you sticky. Sorry, guys. In Chicago, in defense of like white America, just being real, I was in Chicago and this girl was like, "Put on Sticky." She would call it Sticky. I want to hear Sticky, So she put it on, and all of a sudden I'm like, Sticky. I'm like, whoa, really? Okay. In the meanwhile, Sticky. So anyway, I just got dramatic again. But I love that bam, 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 because that's that playback sample. So that's number 5. So you guys kind of get the gist. Even though some people love the slow jams on the album, I might have been a bit more on the fast side. So Sticky, aka In the Meanwhile, with Timbaland's very first rap appearance, I believe, is my number 5 on the.
No, number 4.
Oh shit, my bad. Number 4. Yeah, I'm all excited now. Number 4.
Okay. Wow.
And another interesting thing about that track, do you know? So EPMD used to work with a producer called Charlie Murata, so he's co-produced it, and that links with the Eric Sermon connection on other tracks and remixes of this. He was also involved in this, and he also did Charlie Murata. Do you remember the song "The Munchies" by Immature?
The first track. Yeah, that was the first single.
Yeah, he did that. He was involved in that. So that's the link.
Okay. Wow, it is amazing how I hated the fat up tempo songs, and you guys are all gravitated to it. But as Keith Anders says that Andrew's going all in it tonight. Oh, you should see him when we did our Babyface. So he's slowed down tonight. Okay, top three. So this is top three. So I'm in need of love, and baby, you're in need of love. What about us? On and on and on to the break of dawn. It's on. I mean, JoJo sang this whole song, and I think that's how you sometimes don't recognize, because he and Casey would go back and forth, do verses, but when JoJo sang the whole thing, and Casey and Devontae and Dalvin were on chorus, but you don't necessarily notice. I mean, sometimes we notice when Casey's doing his thing, but when I just realized, well, JoJo sang the whole thing, and everyone sang the harmonies, and I just loved it. So what about us? And that's another one. They have their Jodeci routine where they kick one leg and they move to the side and kick the other leg and stuff. Such tender songs. Girl, I'm reaching out my hand, trying to make you understand that you don't have to be alone because I want to be your man. Girl, I need you in my life. You just want to live right by your side. So, girl, I wouldn't be satisfied until you give me this love a try. Now, I wonder how much different, and Keith can probably answer, if Babyface had written these lyrics or Terry Lewis, would they have been a little bit more sophisticated? Would they have added a little bit more? Your eyes are like the rainbow, the skies at night, and as the lilies, would they have added more of that? But they're singing like, "Hey man, this is how we brothers talk to the ladies. Not trying to overcomplicate it, just be simple, but tell you that we love you and respecting you." So I do wonder, because as I said, there's a strong bond within the community for Jodeci, because it's like, yes, they're speaking our language, and the lyrics just as straightforward, nothing too complicated. So what about us to the break of dawn? They didn't say the break of dawn, but what about us is my number three. Oh, it is on and on and on to the break of dawn. It's on. Yeah. I want to love you. I mean, this is Jodeci. They weren't, they were singing. They were singing very, you're having my baby. That is, for my lady. That's like the kind of the language that when I moved to the States, I was like, damn, this is how people were talking. Like, hey, aren't you coming to school now? My girl's having my baby, man. I have to go get a job. I'm like, well, damn, just like the song. Yeah, go ahead.
It's interesting, like with What About Us and Cry for You, and like maybe like a handful of songs on this album, they kind of feel like the lyrics are very much in line with what Forever My Lady was like in line with that album. But there's a lot of lyrics. Somebody mentioned that Ride and Slide, the lyrics were tacky on that song. And I found, like, I know a lot of Jodeci fans that struggle to listen to the lyrics of Jodeci songs now, off this album and off the last album. The show, the After Party album, because the lyrics are they're just a bit too much. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah, I think the show and After Party probably, they didn't move with the times as much as, say, this one still stayed. And what Keith is saying that, because Face and generationally they're older, so they write differently, and that's what he was saying. I think Dalvin, think about Jermaine Dupri, ballads. They write their second generation. You know, I don't know what generation we talk about, but they write language that we could generally understand and are straight to the point. As some people are saying, they're not overdoing it. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. My number 3 is also produced by Devante. Has no samples. It has been sampled in 25 songs, and it's brilliant. I recently discovered a 2 acetate test pressing of this, and the song is "My Heart Belongs to You." I absolutely love this album. It's perfect. If you're going to start an album, you start with a big song, and I think "My Heart Belongs to You" is absolutely it. It's epic. It's a big production. The vocals are fantastic. The harmonizing is ridiculous. It should have been a single. Sure, people will argue that it was a single in Europe, but it wasn't promoted properly. This should have been had a video. Should have had so much more. My Heart Belongs to You is reluctantly at number 3, but it's a fantastic song.
Yeah, I had it at number 4, but yes, I mean, I don't understand. If you think about the Future album, I think they released 7 singles. You wonder what, why they just did, why they just dropped the ball on this. Okay. Low tone compose says Jodeci would talk like they were only fans. Good. Stevie, number 3.
God, I almost want to change my number 1 after hearing what VJ just said about that track. But my number 3 for me should have been the opening single. It shouldn't have been "Cry for You." This track, if there's any track that relates to the first album, it's definitely "My Heart Belongs to You." It really does relate to the first album. So number 3, and I'm thinking, damn, maybe I should have put this at number 1. I don't know, but it's what a track. Like you said it all, VJ. I don't need to say anymore, mate. But it should have been the only thing I'll add. It should have been the lead off single, and it would have been massive. Absolutely massive.
This will be interesting for some of the collectors. On that test pressing, there's one version. I think it's called the Black Radio Mix, and there is a different intro. It's like 10 seconds. It's just a different intro, and that's the only difference on anything on that record. But yeah, just for those collectors out there, if they find that interesting.
Okay, Andrew, back to you.
All right, so this is why I went like this when you told me you're number 13, because "Baby Take It Off" for JoJo, "Baby Take It Off" for Mr. Dow, "Baby Take It Off" for KC. No, "Baby Take It Off" for me. So "Baby Take It Off, take it off. Can you make me?" Whoa. Okay. Anyways, moving right along. So the lyrics, I didn't realize that's what he said. Anyway, "You Got It." Sorry, guys. The thing that really kind of annoyed me about "You Got It" was that whole Wendy Williams intro. Now, Wendy Williams obviously is a bigger deal, but they should have made that, because I basically have to forward before I get to and I'm always, it's never starting right at where I want it to be. But I like that ba-boom boom, ba-boom boom boom doom doom doom, boom boom, and then music starts, and then "Baby, you got it." It has a kind of a funk, like a Roger and Zapp vibe to it. I just love this song. It's adrenaline. So it is my number 3. No one, again, for some reason, whether it's "Gotta Love," whether it's "You Got It," whatever, I feel like people did not want to hear up tempos from Jodeci. But to me, it was like Jodeci trying to do their "let's go through the motions," on that energy, and I accepted it. I liked it, but apparently I might be alone. Again, no pun intended. And the flags might be being thrown in the comments. I haven't looked yet. But yeah, I loved "You Got It." And I think after this show, I'm going to make a recording that cuts off the Wendy Williams intro so I can just listen to it. I swear to God, the intro kills me every time.
Goodness. Oh, which one was this one that said "Take It Off"? Was that on the show?
You Got It.
You Got It.
No. I think it's a show and after party where "Baby Take It Off" for KC, "Baby Take It Off" for JoJo. I think that's the show and after.
Yeah, because basically it's a little bad because after the Wendy intro, there's another interview and they're being kind of bad because they're like, man, just take that ish off, right? Like get naked, baby, damn. That's what JoJo says. And then it goes into You Got It. And so again, that's why what's his name, Devontae and Vibe was like, I don't know why people are calling us sexist and all that, because when you listen to like Cry For You, I'm crying for this B, but he says B, right? So it's just kind of like you're contradicting yourself, dude. Like, yeah, if you're all your lyrics are begging, but then you're using word like B in the interview, so stop it, But anyway, they were morphing from nice and gentle and lyric-y to the whole hip hop misogyny thing. That was definitely there. So again, I'm not. And again, one thing just in my defense, like I am not necessarily a lyric guy per se. I'm about vibes and music. So even when I recited those lyrics and he said, "Please make me," I stopped right there because I'm like, that's not my energy. I just liked the cadence. And anyways, don't apologize for yourself, Andrew. Just be real. So I love You Got It. I'm gonna park it now and just let the podcast keep moving.
I've just seen rough mixes on. Ross Mortimer's on. Hello, Rough Mix. How are you doing?
Okay, so top two. So yeah, this song, when if I listen to it now in my car, it doesn't do it justice. So going back to 93, back in the day, and this is for anyone that's in the States at this time, you would normally go into your Best Buy and you'd buy a card CD player, which you can pull out and then stick it in. And sometimes you could just, if you wanted to keep it safe, you just take away the face of it. And then you can have these big booming speakers at the back of your car. And some songs, especially in the 90s, the bass that comes out from the songs are amplified by having a massive bass system in your car. And to appreciate this song, you need to have that whole thing set up, because the bass that booms out from Alone is, I'm listening to my car, I'm like, nah, it doesn't catch it, because it has that part where it catch me, baby, don't on the phone, boom, 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 and until you have your system with the bass on, you can't really appreciate it. Now maybe if you're in the club, but it's just, boom, I want to hear you moan, doom, let be alone, doom, 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 doom. Oh. And then you have Daryl Pearson on the guitar. Oh goodness! And so when I spoke to Kenny Whitehead, and they did their 187, and he says, "Yeah, look, man, we didn't sample Alone, but we understood how the Daryl Pearson's guitar thing really made a difference, and so we took some of that element and put the guitar stuff in 187." Especially Daryl Pearson, who went on to be a producer in his own right after this stuff. But I just love Alone. I just love the whole structure of the song and the whole thing, and that's my second favorite song.
Big tune
on the
man.
album.
Big tune.
Are they the ghetto anthem, the real man's anthem? The ghetto anthem. Yeah, I love the track, so it is number 2 for me. VJ, what just makes it number 2 for you?
My number 2 is a Devontae production. It has no samples. It's been sampled in 12 songs. I didn't like it very much when it came out. I have to be honest. It was the first single, and I didn't get it at the time. And it felt, as we talked about earlier, it felt like Michael Jackson and Saida Garrett's I Just Can't Stop Loving You. Why was that the first single? That's what I was thinking for both of these songs. But now that I'm older, I'm supposedly more mature and wiser. I think Cry For You is absolutely astonishing. It's such a brilliant song. You listen to this instrumental, just take the vocals out of it. Just listen to the instrumentation of this song. It is stunning. The I cannot explain how good this song is. I'm stunned that I missed how good this song was when it came out, because in 1993 it was over my head, and it wasn't until maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago when I really started appreciating this song. And that is the reason why Cry For You is deservedly at number 2 on my list.
Okay. Okay. Well done, VJ. I was getting concerned about the rest of us, but yes. So obviously, it was discarded like it was. I have a look back at this, but and even in the comments, so people, yeah. Go on, Stevie. What's number 2 for you?
This is the song in it where it says you take all my money, my car, and all that. Feenin. That's the song where if you did all that for a woman, you'd probably end up homeless and broke. But number two, remember this, guys. Remember this bit of a tip for your ear. If you stay single, you save money. As a man, you save money. Stay single. Because I'll tell you this much now, ladies, get into relationships for one of these reasons, and one of them is to save money. Right then, number 2 is Feenin.
Okay. So you're going to give up everything just for one night.
It's a very simping type track. If I look back now, but it's still a great track. You're in there, if it ain't easy kind of mold on this, it's a great track. So number 2.
Okay. Andrew, what's number 2 for you?
All right. So actually, I am very much in line with pretty much everything you said. I just verified it. So even the way the song starts, it feels like a plane, like in the air, right? And then all of a sudden you hear Devante say, "Lay back, baby. We're about to take you to LA." So all of a sudden it's just like, and it's like, and it's all of a sudden it's just like doom, 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 the drums, that G funk, alone is the one mother effers. Like, and yes, that special lady, boom, boom, I'm fucking boom, 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 boom. Like, why was that not a single? Like, to me, that was the one. Like it should have been the third single. Like, I mean, it should have been a video and everything, because it was right in the heart. And you could have had Snoop like just come on and just rap, on there.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So let's be alone. Like, it is a crime that song was not a single. My fucking goosebumps are on fleek right now. Like, woo! Number 2 for me.
If you guys have big bass, I don't even know if they do them anymore, but you could have them. I'm saying you need to do the way to boom, and it just like shakes the whole car. I'm like, oh man, let's get alone. Oh,
I'm with you.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wow. So we've come down. So I'm just gonna go down from number 13 before I get to number 1. So I start off number 13 is You Got It featuring Redman. Number 12 was In the Meantime, Mario featuring Timbaland. Number 11 was Give Me All You Got. Number 10 was Won't Waste You with Missy. I'll Waste Your Time. Number 9 was Jodeci Hotline Part 1. So the first half of that song. Number 8 was Success. Number 7 was Sweaty. Number 6 was Feeling. Number 5 was Ride and Slide. Number 4 was My Heart Belongs to You. Number 3 was What About Us. Number 2 was Alone. And it's been an hour since you've been gone. That's too long, so come back home. I can't live without you, so I'll cry for you. I'll do anything that I can to feel that touch from your hand. Sorry that I want you. Lady, what can I do? Guys, you know everything to me. Do you want me? Would I do anything? I'll be on my knees. What else can I do? I'm telling you, I love. To me, this was the perfect. When they came out with this, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is Forever My Lady Part 2. This is, and I'm a sucker for songs of men being humble, saying, yeah, you know what, baby, I got it wrong. What can I do? I'm sorry. You know, don't leave me. Forgive me. Because they work. Anytime, Blackstreet had "Don't Leave Me," they went to number one. I apologize. Anytime you come up with stuff on a song like that, it will get to number one because women love. Oh, this guy's being humble, and men like, oh man, he's singing the song that I can play for my girl. Like you can leave this on the answer machine, and it's like, yeah, this is what I'm trying to say, but I don't know how to say it, so I'm just gonna play you this song. I think this was just shows a side of Jodeci. Lady, I will cry for you tonight. Yeah, I cry for you to me is, and when I first time I spoke to Dalvin, I said, Dalvin, what's your favorite song? And he was going all around. I said, look, man, Cry for You. And he said, yeah, Cry for You is his favorite. And I said, that's your best song, as much as I like Lady, Forever My Lady and all that stuff. But I think Cry for You is that song that really says what sometimes guys can't say, and you can put it in the song.
Just a shame it doesn't work out in real life.
Hey, I'm telling you, back in the 90s, you just played a song. You didn't have, just play the song.
Unfortunately, begging for a woman, crying for a woman. Wrong way to go, guys.
No, because I don't.
Wrong way to go.
But I don't know if I don't.
Well, it's a great track.
It
is. I'm not going to say it isn't a great. It is a great track, but just a shame it don't work in real life. And I know it's hard for you to hear that. It's a hard opinion to hear, but just look into that opinion deeply. It's hard for you to.
No, it's all. I would say that it is.
Because it hits sometimes.
Not necessarily Colin saying "Baby, I'm begging, baby, I'm begging, begging, baby." Even when we had Michael Jackson's "Lady in My Life," songs that show vulnerability for men. Unfortunately, guys aren't becoming vulnerable when they sing. Even Maxwell, "Woman's Worth," R. Kelly track, but guys aren't getting vulnerable anymore, and because maybe they don't think it sells. But that's why this song has always been a powerful song for me. Is just the fact that songs that talk bring vulnerability, and this was an amazing track and stuff like that. So my favorite Jodeci song ever, but also a favorite on this album.
Good choice, now. And in line with what you just said there, Stevie, I think you have a part of a point there. But I think it, like in relationships, any type of relationships that we have, it's down to frequencies. And if our frequency measures up with somebody, you can beg and it's acceptable. If your frequencies don't measure up, then you come across like a little bit of a dick. It doesn't matter. I mean, it just depends on the frequency. If the frequency is right, you can connect with anybody on any level. It just, and that's the hard part. That is the hard part, finding somebody that's on that frequency.
And melodic, I think it's just the way the song is. I mean, I think the IK was a nice song, but it was, I think it was too old school. I just love vocally how this one sounds. I love just how it sounds. I love the production. I love the simplicity of what has been written. And we spoke about if Terry Lewis had written this, it would have been, a lot more dynamics in there for Babyface, but this just sounded like guys, this sounded like a guy writing stuff that I probably could write or say. Yeah. Do girls take it seriously? We're sorry. Hey, back in the day, I don't know about now. I can only talk about when this came out back in the 90s and 80s and stuff. I can't talk about 2025 if women take these songs and lyrics as seriously as they did back then. But anyways, VJ, 13 down
13
to
down
1.
to 1. Claude, good choices, by the way. You'll see why I think your choices are good in a second. So number 13, I picked Jodecidal Hotline. If the first part was more of the song, it was way up there. Andrew and Stevie, please listen to that first 2 minutes again. You will love it. It's nuts. Number 12, Won't Waste You. Number 11, Sweaty. Number 10 is In the Meanwhile. Number 9, You Got It. The Harmonies, Bananas. So good. I can't believe it's at number 9. Number 8, if I did this list again, this would not be at number 8. What About Us is at number 8. Bad, VJ. Definite yellow card. I'm giving myself a yellow card, yeah, if that's possible. Number 7, Success. Give Me All You Got is number 6. Feenin at number 5. Ride and Slide is number 4. My Heart Belongs to You is number 3. Number 2 is Cry for You. Number 1 is a track surprisingly produced by Mr. Dalvin. It's sampled in 2 songs. There was a best of Jodeci album that came out, and they had a remix of a track called Some More. They had a remix of what was the other track? Success was on there, and they had a remix of this song. My number 1 song is Alone, and I absolutely love it. This is a brilliant song. I don't know why people don't talk about this song more. It just is so brilliant. Why is this not bigger? I love it. I didn't understand that remix, by the way. So Dalvin remix on that best of, right? He's like he's got some maracas out, and he's just added some maracas on the song. It makes no sense as a remix, but the original version, absolutely stunning. And my number 1 is Alone.
Let me alone.
Love it, love it, love it. Big.
Okay, Stevie now. So Stevie now.
I'll go from number 10 actually. Number 10, Ride and Slide. Number 9, Cry for You. Number 8, Won't Waste You. Number 7, Alone. Number 6, Sweaty. Number 5, You Got It. Number 4, Give Me All You Got. Number 3, My Heart Belongs to You. Could it have been my number 1? Number 2, Feenin again could have been number 1. And my number 1 is What About Us?
Nice.
I'll just pick that track. One of the big singles. Okay. Play it a lot. Got the zap feel to it. Mm-hmm. So,
yep. Samples, computer love.
Yeah.
You do what? I wanna love you. All right. So I'm gonna also go to the top 10. So my number 10 is Sweaty. Number 9 is Ride and Slide. Number 8, Cry for You, yellow card. Number 7, Feenin, another yellow card. Number 6, My Heart Belongs to You. Number 5, What About Us? Number 4, Sticky, aka In the Meanwhile. Number 3, You Got It. Number 2, Alone. And finally, number 1, my story is when I saw Jodeci on Soul Train back in 1991. Devontae explained how they drove up, they popped in the car, drove up, and they actually sang for Heavy D and Kurt Woodley. I remember hearing Kurt Woodley for the first time then. We eventually met Kevin Woodley, but either way, Kurt Woodley. And, you know, as to be no surprise, when I was in high school and junior high, I was absolutely part of singing groups. So whether it was the 5 Heartbeats, whether it was Voice of Men Story, singing for Michael Bivins, whatever, like I loved and resonated with stories about ambition and trying to make it. Last but not least, I didn't get a CD player till like 96. So I was in the tape land, right? And on the tape, this song wasn't on there. So when I got the CD and heard Devontae, Mr. Dalvin, KC, and then JoJo. Sorry, guys. But anyway, and boom, boom. And it sounds like a band because it's a live drum and it's called, yes, Success is my number 1 because I feel like that. It was very much like this is like Jodeci Won't Never Leave, Confidence Too High. Like it was, now we got to keep on singing your favorite songs, moving you to a beat, getting you on your feet. Like it was just like, this is us. This is who we are. We're a band. and we are just here, and we're going to keep going on, but like leaving our family behind, it was so sad when we said, "Mama, we gone." Like, it was just, it just really, yeah, I don't know. I just, it's a personal thing, but I can relate to the feeling of ambition and proceeding without, even though you're scared, going forward anyway. So for me, my personal favorite song off the album is Success, and I would have loved to see it as a single as well. So Success and Alone were my tracks. So that's it. I got nothing left. I got nothing left to share. My heart is all out on the table for the interview.
Hey, Keith. Marco, you came in late. So love Success. I mean, it's been. I know VJ's about to give us, because he went around and got others to sort of send a compilation so that he could put a sort of a combined list. So just before he gives it to that, it's been interesting that we've been somewhat varied today with our songs. I think in some cases we've loved the different sides. So Stevie was more into some of the up tempo sides of it. I my top 6 were the first 6 songs on the album. So it's that's where I sort of switched off and had to scramble for the others. So it's been an interesting balance and stuff. But anyway, so just before we wrap up, VJ, do you want to give us the others and see what the top 10 was from everyone?
So before I do that, I mentioned Feenin. There's a Dalvin remix, and it's harder to come by than I thought. It's very hard to come by, but I've just seen on the cassette maxi single, the Mr. Dalvin mix, the radio mix is on there. So if you haven't got that mix and you want to get it, it is on this cassette. So worth a look. Thank you to Deland, Zach, Urban Music Showcase, Brandon, Soul Guru, Renge, and everybody else that submitted their lists. So this is the list I wish I had submitted, because now that I look at this list, this is perfect. This is a combined list. So at number 13, it's Jodeci Hotline. Number 12 is Won't Waste You. Number 11 is Give Me All You Got. Number 10, I'm sorry, Andrew, Success. Number 9, Ride and Slide. Number 8, Sweaty. Number 7, In the Meanwhile. Number 6, You Got It.
Wow.
And the top 5 from everybody that submitted lists, number 5 is Feenin. Number 4 is Alone.
Oh.
Number 3 is Cry For You.
I was wrong.
Number 2 is What About Us. Number 1 from Diary of a Madband is My Heart Belongs to You. Great choice. I love it. I love this list. I wish I'd thought of that list. But that's your lot.
Yeah. It's been a marathon 2 hours. And for all of you guys who had stayed with us from the beginning to now, definitely appreciate it. It was definitely a good choice from VJ for us to dip into this album and also watch the evolution of Jodeci. So we've got our list, and we will be back in a couple of weeks when we tackle the sum of 88. I think if you thought this show was great, if you thought our Teddy, Jimmy Jam, and LA and Babyface episode was great, wait until we delve into the sum of 88. We've got the Album Show's Night and Day album. We have Troop's debut album. We've got Guy's debut album. We've got Don't Be Cruel album, and we've got Any Heartbreak album. 5 albums, and we're going to have to put a top 12 or top 10, I can't remember, from those 5 albums, and talk about how 5 albums were released within 5 weeks. It seems insane. So get ready for that episode. It's going to be crazy. But Andrew, Stevie, and VJ, it's been great. For everyone who's been putting in the comments, remember, guys, it's the fact that you join us in this comment stuff makes the show. So it's not the 4 of us talking. It's the fact that you guys put your comments down, and we respond. We feed off of that. So, sorry, in effect mode. I don't know why I said night and day album. In effect mode. So that's going to be a massive one. So, final words, Stevie, Andrew.
It's a good night from me. My heart belongs to you. Good night.
And I'll just say it was a trip that went out. This album was like a prism, as in like there's so many different ways you could look at the album. It expanded my mind. Like I didn't realize "Won't Waste You" or "Give Me All You Got" or whatever would be loved so much by so many people, or that "Alone" would only be number 4. I thought for sure it was gonna be number 1. Like, but it's all good. It was a good album.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, and finally, VJ.
The one thing I will say, just to wrap up from my side, is I used to always fluctuate between whether I preferred Diary of a Madman or if I preferred Forever My Lady, always back and forth. But in the last few years, as much as I love this album, and I do really, really love this album, Forever My Lady is the masterpiece. It is just magic, and I'm going to leave it at that. That is the best album Jodeci have ever done to date. I have to say that. I don't know. Maybe they've got something else in the thing. I don't know. But yeah, that's it. Forever My Lady's the one.
All right. See you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that kind of